Your aging father is proud of you, more than you realize. But there's a good chance he has never once said it to your face. Men of his generation rarely did. So today, I'll show you 7 quiet signs of the pride your father hides, counting down to the biggest of all and the reason he never says it out loud. If you have an aging parent, subscribe. This channel is about understanding the people who raised us. To understand why he hides it, you have to understand the kind of man he is and the world that made him. Your father very likely grew up in a time and a family where praise was rationed out carefully, if it was given at all. Affection was shown through actions, not words. A father provided and protected and kept the roof over your head, and that was understood to be the love. Saying, "I'm proud of you" out loud felt unnecessary, or soft, or even risky. Many men of his generation genuinely believed that praising a child too much would spoil them, would give them a big head, would make them lazy or weak. I don't want him getting too pleased with himself, they thought, and so they held the praise back, even when their hearts were bursting with it. The result is a whole generation of fathers who are quietly, fiercely proud of their children, and almost completely unable to say so directly. So the pride went underground. It came out sideways, in 100 small ways that you may never have recognized for what they were.
You may have spent a good part of your life secretly wondering whether your father was actually proud of you at all. So let me put your mind at ease and show you the proof that has been there all along. Here are the signs. Number 7. He brags about you to everyone but you. This is the classic one, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. To your face, your father is reserved. He nods, he says, "That's good," and moves on. But the moment you leave the room, or better yet, when you're not even in the same town, a completely different man emerges. He tells the neighbor about your new job. He mentions you to the man at the hardware store. He updates his friends on every detail of your life, beaming the whole time. You have probably experienced the strange, lovely shock of running into someone who knows your father and having them say, "Oh, you're the one he's always talking about." And you stood there thinking, "He is? He never tells me that." But he tells them. He tells everyone but you. Because somehow bragging about you to a stranger feels safe, while saying it directly to your face feels too vulnerable, too exposed. The pride is so real that he can't contain it. It spills out everywhere he goes. He just can't seem to aim it directly at the one person who most needs to hear it.
You might even have overheard it once. Caught him on the phone telling a friend about something you'd done, his voice warm and animated in a way it never quite is when he's talking to you directly. It can sting a little, that gap. Why them and not me? But the gap isn't a lack of pride. It's the opposite. With a stranger, the pride can come out lightly. No big deal, nothing owed. Said straight to your face, it would suddenly mean too much. It would become a moment, and moments make men like him deeply uncomfortable. So he routes it through everyone else instead. So if you've ever found out secondhand that your father brags about you, understand what you were really being told. He is proud of you, deeply, and he has been telling the whole world. Everyone but you. Number 6. He keeps your photos and your achievements where he can see them. Take a look around your father's home sometime. Really look. There's a good chance it's quietly become a shrine to you. Your school photos, still on the wall after all these years. A framed picture from your graduation or your wedding. Maybe a newspaper clipping if you ever made the local paper, gone soft and yellow now. A trophy you won as a kid that he never let anyone throw away. The drawing you made him, the diploma. The little reminders of your life, arranged in the places where his eyes land most often. He sees those things every single day, and every single day they make him proud all over again. Pointing to the photo with a pride he would never put into words directly to you. He surrounds himself with the evidence of you because you are, quite simply, what he is most proud of in this world. His home is a museum, and you are the prize exhibit. Check his wallet sometime too, and you may find a photo of you worn soft at the corners from being taken out and looked at 1,000 times. Maybe you're the background on his phone, if he's figured out how to set that up. The fridge, the mantle, the little spot beside his chair, wherever he spends his hours, there you are, quietly watching over him. And he arranges it all so that anyone who visits can't help but notice and ask about you. He has built his whole little world around images of you, on purpose, year after year. He just never quite says so when you're the one standing in the room. If you're starting to recognize your own father in these signs, picturing the photos on his wall, the things he says to others, then stay with me, because the deepest signs and the reason behind all of them are still to come. Number 5. He wants to know every last detail of your life. You might experience it as him being nosy or repetitive, asking the same questions over and over about your work, your plans, your kids, what you've been up to. It can feel like an interrogation sometimes, but that endless curiosity is not nosiness, it is pride, and it is love.
He wants to know everything because everything about your life genuinely fascinates and delights him. Your job that he doesn't fully understand, your hobbies, the details of your day. He drinks it all in. Part of it is that he's gathering material, collecting the things he can be proud of, and yes, brag about to the neighbor later. But part of it is simpler and sweeter than that. Your life is the most interesting story he knows, and he never gets tired of hearing the next chapter. When he asks for the 3rd time how that project at work is going, he is not losing track. He is telling you, in the only way he knows how, that you matter to him, that what you do matters to him, that he is paying close attention to a life he is endlessly proud to have had a hand in. And notice how he holds on to the answers. Weeks later, he'll ask a follow-up about something you only mentioned in passing. Proof he was listening far more closely than you ever assumed. He files it all away. Partly to brag about later, yes, but mostly just to feel close to a daily life he is no longer a part of. The questions are his way in. They are how a father who used to know everything about you keeps a thread connecting him to the grown, independent life you now live, far from his kitchen table. So the next time the questions come, try to hear them for what they really are. I'm proud of you, and I want to know everything about the person you've become.
Number 4, he quotes you, and he actually asks for your opinion now. There is a quiet, profound shift that happens as a father ages, and you may have felt it without ever naming it. The man who spent your whole childhood telling you what to do starts somewhere along the way to ask you what you think instead. He wants your advice on a decision. He asks how you would handle something. For a man to defer to his own child, to treat your judgment as something valuable, even authoritative, is one of the most powerful signs of pride and respect there is. It means he no longer sees you as the kid he had to guide, but as a capable adult he can lean on, learn from, and look up to. That is an enormous thing for a father to feel, and an even bigger thing for him to show. Think about what that reversal actually costs him. This is a man who was, for decades, the one with all the answers, the fixer, the authority, the final word in the house. For him to pick up the phone and ask his own child what to do is a quiet act of humility and trust. He'll say to other people, "I'll check with my kid. They understand this stuff better than I do," and he'll mean it as the compliment it is. He is slowly handing you the very role he held your entire life, and that handoff is itself a form of pride far too deep for plain words.
But every time he asks for your opinion and actually listens to the answer, every time he repeats something you told him as though it were wisdom, that is exactly what he is telling you. He is proud of your mind, your judgment, the person you turned into. He just shows it by asking instead of saying. Number 3, he pays close attention to the things you care about. Here is a tender one that often goes completely unnoticed. Your father has quietly started following the things that matter to you, not because they interest him, but because they interest you. He reads up on your field so he can keep up in conversation. He watches the team you love or the show you mentioned, or learns a little about the hobby you're into, just so he has something to share with you, just so he can be a part of your world. He remembers the small details, your friends' names, the date of your big presentation, the thing you were worried about last time you talked. A father who pays that kind of attention is a father who is studying you, because everything about you is worth knowing to him. It's pride in its purest, most active form, not just feeling proud from a distance, but reaching toward your life, trying to stay connected to it, refusing to become a stranger to the person he is proudest of. You might catch him mentioning a headline about your industry, or asking a question that shows he has clearly been reading up on something he'd have no other reason to know about.
He learns the names of your coworkers. He tries, a little awkwardly, to understand the work you do all day. None of that comes naturally to him. It's effort, and effort is the loudest love a quiet man knows how to give. He is doing homework on your life so that he can keep a place inside it. When he surprises you by knowing something about your world that you never expected him to care about, that's not a coincidence. That's a father who has been quietly paying attention the whole time because he loves you and is proud of the life you're building. Number 2, he gets unexpectedly emotional at your big moments. You've probably seen it at least once, the crack in the armor. The gruff, steady, unflappable man who never shows much of anything, suddenly with glassy eyes at your graduation or your wedding or the first time he held your child. He might have turned away or cleared his throat or made a joke to cover it or stepped out of the room for a minute, but you saw it. For just a second, the lifetime of carefully contained pride broke through the surface and showed itself, raw and undeniable. Those moments are so powerful precisely because they are so rare, because a man who has spent decades holding it all in cannot, in those few overwhelming moments, hold it in any longer. The pride and the love simply become too big for the container.
And in that crack, you got a glimpse of the truth of how he feels about you all the time, underneath the calm exterior. The depth of emotion that is always there, usually hidden, occasionally spilling over when a moment is just too big to stay composed. Maybe he tried to give a toast and had to stop halfway through, waving a hand, unable to go on. Maybe he just held on a beat too long in a hug that said everything his mouth couldn't. And notice, he probably brought that day up for years afterward, returning to it again and again, because it was one of the rare times the feeling actually got out. The moment mattered to him that much. He has been quietly replaying it ever since. The day his pride finally, briefly, showed its face. If you've ever seen your father's eyes fill up over something you did, hold on to that memory. You weren't seeing a strange, out-of-character moment. You were seeing, for once, what is always there. And number 1, the deepest sign of all, the one underneath every other sign on this list. When your father looks at the person you have become, he sees the single greatest achievement of his entire life. Not his job, not anything he built or earned or owned. You. He looks at you, at your character, your kindness, the life you've made, the person you turned out to be. And somewhere deep inside he thinks, I had a part in that. I helped make that. For a father, there is no pride on earth that runs deeper than this. The sense that whatever else he got right or wrong, he raised a good human being, and that you are his legacy, the best and most lasting thing he will ever leave behind in this world. And this, finally, is the real reason he can never quite say it out loud. It's not only the generation he comes from or the fear of giving you a big head. It's that this particular feeling is simply too enormous and too tender to fit into words. How do you tell your child, you are the meaning of my whole life. You are the thing I am proudest of having done with my time on this earth. Looking at you is how I know it all mattered. The words don't exist that are big enough. They would break him to even attempt. So he says nothing. Or he says, that's good, or I'm glad, or he just looks at you with an expression you can't quite read. Catch him sometimes at a family gathering, sitting quietly off to the side, just watching you move through the room, talking, laughing, being the whole adult you grew into. In those unguarded moments, his face goes soft and full, and what is moving behind it is the simplest, largest thought a parent can ever have. That's mine, and they turned out good, and I got to be a part of it. There is a faint ache woven into it too, because he knows he won't get to see all of where you'll go from here. But mostly it is pure, quiet, overflowing pride. But now, you can read it. That look is everything he cannot say. It is a father gazing at his greatest achievement, overwhelmed by a pride so vast he has spent your whole life unable to put it into words. So if you have ever wondered whether your father is proud of you, I hope you can finally stop wondering. He is. He always has been, more than you know, and more than he could ever bring himself to say. And knowing that, there are 2 beautiful things you can do with it. The first is to let him know that you see it, that you've cracked the code. The next time he brags about you to someone, or asks you 100 questions, or tears up at a big moment, you can gently let him know,
I know you're proud of me, Dad. I've always known. You would be amazed at what that does to a man who has spent a lifetime unable to say the words himself, to discover that you understood all along. And the second thing is even simpler and even more powerful. You can give him the chance to finally say it by saying it first. Tell him you're proud of him. Tell him you're proud to be his child, proud of the father he was, proud of the man he is. Because here is a quiet truth that almost no one talks about. Fathers ache to hear that they made you proud, every bit as much as you ache to hear that you made them proud. So go and have that conversation while he is still here to have it.
Hearing "I'm proud of you" from your father is one of the things you will carry with you for the rest of your life, and so is finally telling him the same. If this touched you, take a moment to subscribe and share it with someone whose father is still here, and then go and tell your dad you're proud of him, and let him know that you always knew he was proud of you too.